The day Kofi lost everything, the market was full of smiles. Drums beat near the fabric stalls, traders shouted prices over pepper and cassava, and warm afternoon light slid across the road as Kofi moved between the tables. Every few steps, someone caught his hand and pulled him into another congratulations. "Kofi, we heard. Mensa Trading chose the right man. Do not forget us when you become too important." Kofi laughed, shook every hand, and let the noise carry him forward. That morning, Mr. Mensa had promoted him to senior contract manager. 7 years had led to that title. Late nights, corrected ledgers, locked office doors, and numbers checked until the building emptied. At the Palm Wine Stall, Soro forced his way through the crowd with both arms open. "Brother," he called, "the promotion, you deserve it. You always work the hardest. Come, let me buy you palm wine. Tonight, we celebrate you." Kofi embraced him without hesitation and said, "Soro, you are my oldest friend. Since we were boys chasing goats on that hill, you have always been there." Soro slapped his back and answered, "Always, brother, always." Kofi turned to greet another trader. Behind him, Soro stopped cheering. His hand tightened around the cup until the rim pressed into his palm. When the evening toast came, Soro raised his cup higher than everyone and said, "To Kofi, the man who never loses." The market roared. Kofi bowed and laughed. Soro drank without cheering. 3 weeks later, Kofi sat alone in his office with a printed memo flattened under both hands. The air conditioner clicked above him, steady and dry. Outside the glass wall, clerks crossed between desks, then slowed when they passed his door. No one knocked. At first, he read the complaint like a clerical problem. He traced each line with his finger. Altered figures, misconduct, private complaint, Accra supply contract. The words should not have belonged together. He turned the page. A copied spreadsheet waited underneath, and one shipment code had been circled again and again. Kofi stopped moving. That code had been wrong for one night only. He had caught it during the late review, corrected the district entry, and sent the final file before any client saw it. No shipment changed route, no money moved, no deadline slipped. The old draft should have stayed buried in the review folder. He pulled the memo closer until the paper creased beneath his thumbs. Only 3 people had seen that draft before correction: Kofi, Mr. Mensa, Soro. The office noise thinned behind the glass. A printer started, jammed, and squealed until someone slapped the tray shut. Kofi did not look up. He turned back to the anonymous note and read its careful accusations again. The writer knew dates. The writer knew the review sequence. The writer knew exactly where to cut. His hand left the page and settled on the desk. In his mind, Soro stood beside the Accra file, asking too many questions. Kofi folded the memo once, slow and sharp, and kept Soro's name inside the crease. By the time Kofi entered Mr. Mensa's office, the complaint had been arranged like a trial. Printed emails lay in separate piles. Spreadsheets covered the desk. Red circles marked the wrong shipment code, and margin notes pointed toward Kofi's promotion interview. Mr. Mensa did not ask him to sit. He pushed one page forward and said, "Explain this." Kofi leaned over it, read the accusation, and kept his voice level. "This was corrected before submission. You saw the final file. Soro saw it too." Mr. Mensa tapped the stack. "The board saw these papers this morning. They have asked me to place you on leave while they review everything." Kofi looked up. "Leave? Effective today. Hand your access card to security." For a moment, Kofi's hand stayed at his chest, closed around the card that had opened every door. Then he unclipped it and placed it on the desk. Mr. Mensa's hand hovered over the plastic, then withdrew, as if even touching it required a decision. Kofi stepped into the corridor with no card and no instructions. Conversation died at the nearest desks. A clerk lifted a file and stared at it without turning a page. At the elevator, a guard waited with a cardboard box. Kofi put his notebook inside, then 2 pens, then the photo of his mother. Each item struck the bottom with a final sound. He carried the box through the lobby. The receptionist lowered her eyes to the register. Outside, the sun hit the pavement. Kofi walked 2 streets before he stopped beneath a bus shelter and loosened his grip from the cardboard edges. Night fell, Kofi's box sat, papers spread, and sorted them by date. When the order failed him, he gathered them again and sorted them by project. The lamp beside the wall hummed over the stacks. A knock cut through the room. Mama Yawa entered with a covered bowl, set it on the table, and pointed at the papers. "You look like a man who trusted a snake because it lay still." Kofi kept his eyes on the nearest email. "Soro was my friend. 20 years. I helped him when people turned away." Mama Yawa sat beside the papers. "A smile costs nothing. Loyalty costs something. Show me where he paid for you." Kofi reached for a page, then stopped. The memories came in pieces he could test. Soro's rent was late. Kofi had paid the landlord. Soro missed a deadline. Kofi had finished the report after the cleaner shut the corridor lights. Soro wanted a place at Mensa Trading. Kofi had spoken for him. Then Kofi saw the promotion week again, Soro leaning over the Accra file. Soro asking which draft went to review. Soro asking who had seen the correction. Kofi lowered both palms to the floor. "He never paid it," he said. "I paid it for him." Mama Yawa uncovered the bowl and pushed it closer. "Eat first, then read again. A hungry man misses small footprints." Kofi took the spoon. After she left, he pulled the papers into tighter piles, opened his laptop, and began searching Soro's messages. Kofi searched Soro's name first, then narrowed the inbox by project, date, and attachment. The laptop fan clicked under the table. Old messages filled the screen, most of them short, most asking for figures, dates, or help with reports. Then one line repeated. The numbers speak for themselves. Kofi stopped scrolling. He opened another message. Same closing line. He opened a third. Same words, same rhythm, placed at the end like a stamp. He pulled the complaint copy closer and found the anonymous note attached to the Accra accusation. The sentence waited in the middle of the paragraph. The numbers speak for themselves. Kofi printed the note, then printed 3 of Soro's old emails and placed them side by side on the floor. The phrase matched, but a phrase alone could be denied. At sunrise, Kofi carried the pages to an internet cafe near the bus station. The owner leaned over the keyboard and opened the email header. Lines of routing data filled the monitor. "Free account," the owner said. "It hides the sender." Kofi's hand tightened on the edge of the desk. Then the owner scrolled lower. "But look here, recovery contact. Only part of the number shows." 4 digits sat at the end of the line. Kofi took out his phone, opened Soro's contact, and checked the number twice. The last 4 digits were the same. He paid for another 30 minutes. He copied the header, the recovery line, the anonymous note, and every old email with that phrase. By the time he left, the papers no longer looked like scattered suspicion. They formed a trail. Kofi did not go home with the proof. He divided the pages into 2 bundles, checked the dates again, and sealed one inside a plain envelope for Mr. Mensa. At Mensa Trading, security blocked him before the lobby doors. "I am on leave." Kofi said, "I know. Please put this in Mr. Mensa's hands today." The guard looked at the envelope, then at Kofi, and did not move. For one hard second, the building held him outside like a locked gate. Then, the guard reached out. Kofi released the envelope and watched it pass beyond the doors he could no longer enter. He kept the second bundle folded in his pocket and walked toward the market. The afternoon stalls were busy, but the noise reached him in separate pieces. Bowls striking tables, coins sliding across palms, goats pulling at rope. Near the palm wine stall, Soro stood between 2 traders, laughing loudly enough for people at the next table to turn. His hands cut through the air as he acted out some story. The traders laughed with him. Kofi crossed the road. A cart rolled between them. Kofi stopped, waited for the wheels to grind past, then stepped forward again. One trader saw him first. The laughter thinned. Another trader followed the first one's gaze and lowered his cup. Soro kept talking for 3 more words before the silence reached him. He turned. Kofi stopped an arm's length away. He took the folded papers from his pocket, but did not unfold them. The market waited. The silence gave Kofi room, and he used it. He unfolded the first page slowly, not for drama, but so every trader close enough could see the printed header at the top. "You sent the complaint through a free account," he said. "You thought that would hide you." Soro gave a quick laugh and lifted one hand, but the sound died before it crossed the stall. Kofi tapped the page with one finger. The account hid the name. It did not hide the recovery contact. The last 4 digits match your phone. A woman near the cassava baskets leaned forward. One of the traders beside Soro stopped gripping his cup and set it down on the table. Soro's smile stayed fixed, then pulled tight at one corner. "Many numbers can end the same way," he said. Kofi opened the second page. "That is why I brought the words too." He held up 3 old messages and the anonymous note beneath them. "You end your emails like this. The numbers speak for themselves. Same phrase in your old messages, same phrase in the complaint. The market shifted. A chair leg scraped stone. Someone behind Kofi muttered Soro's name, not as a greeting, but as a question. Soro reached for the papers. Kofi moved them back. Do not touch them. Mr. Mensah has copies. The smile broke completely. Soro looked from the pages to the people around him, and for the first time, the space beside him began to empty. Soro looked at the open space around him and tried to make his voice small. You brought office business into the market? He said. The question landed badly. No one answered for him. Kofi kept the papers against his chest and did not move. You brought lies into my office, he said. The stall owner behind Soro stopped pouring. Palm wine ran over the rim of a cup and dripped onto the table before he noticed. Soro's hand closed into a fist, then opened again. He stopped measuring his words. Each one came out harder, scraped loose by the people watching him. You got everything, Kofi. The promotion, the respect, the praise. People clapped for you as if the rest of us were furniture. A traitor drew in a breath and held it. Soro heard it and turned sharper. I have been there just as long. I checked files. I stayed late. But when the title came, they gave it to you. Kofi stepped half a pace closer. So, you sent the complaint because you were jealous? Soro laughed once. It struck the tables and fell flat. Jealous? He said. No, I only corrected the balance. I leveled the field. The market did not move. The drums at the far end stumbled, then stopped. Cups stayed on tables. Hands pulled back from Soro's side of the stall. What had been friendship a minute earlier now stood exposed as calculation. The first trader to move did not speak. He lifted his basket from the ground and crossed to the other side of the road. Another followed, dragging a stool away from the palm wine table. A third man lowered his cup, looked once at Soro, and turned his back. The space around Soro widened in uneven steps. Each withdrawal left him with fewer bodies at his side. Soro saw it happening and reached toward Kofi's arm, not toward the papers now. Kofi, wait, he said. His voice cracked at the edge of the word. We can speak like brothers. Kofi stopped. For 1 second, the market stopped with him. He did not turn fully. He only angled his body enough for Soro to hear every word without anyone else needing to repeat it. You used that word when it helped you, he said. Do not use it now. Soro stepped forward. The traitor nearest him shifted aside instead of making room. No hand came to Soro's shoulder. No voice softened the blow. Kofi folded the papers once, slid them into his bag, and closed it with a hard snap. Then he walked past the stalls. Sandals scraped the dusty road behind him as people moved out of his path. Soro called his name once. Kofi did not answer. He did not slow. 20 years ended in the distance between one call and the next footstep. At sunset, Kofi sat beside the river with Mama Yawa. The market noise had thinned behind the reeds. Here, water pressed softly against the bank and carried broken leaves downstream. Mama Yawa handed him a cup. He held it with both hands, but did not drink. Across the water, a fisherman pulled a net hand over hand. Each tug brought mud, weeds, then one flashing fish into the canoe. Mama Yawa watched Kofi's face. Did you hate him? She asked. Kofi kept his eyes on the net. I wanted to, he said, but hatred would make me keep feeding him after he has already taken enough. He set the cup down before it spilled. From his bag, he removed an old company photo. His thumb paused on the line where he and Soro stood side by side. Then he gripped the paper and tore it once, slowly, from top to bottom. The sound was small, but it cut clean through the evening. Kofi kept his own half. He laid the other half on the river. The current caught it, turned it, and pulled it past the reeds. Mama Yawa nodded. Now watch actions, not mouths, she said. Kofi folded the remaining half and put it away. The water kept moving. Behind him, the road carried rumors. Ahead of him, dates, emails, and proof waited. Time would sort them one by one.